they've come such a long way.
That's the best way to explain it.
Yeah. You what? Aren't you an engineer?
He's not an audio engineer.
20 years ago they couldn't. This is new. This is cutting edge. Good evening. I'd like to welcome you all to the Washougal City Council workshop meeting of October 10, 2011. Mr. Scott, could you call the roll, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Costin.
Here.
Councilmember Shoemaker.
Here.
Councilmember McDaniel.
Here.
Councilmember Delavar.
Present.
Councilmember Greenlee. Councilmember Morris.
Here.
And Councilmember Russell.
Here. I did receive a message from Councilmember Greenlee that said that he is ill this evening and would not be here at the meeting. Do we have any members of the public that would like to address council? Okay. Agenda bills. Jim, Public Works.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, we have one agenda bill this evening, and it has to do with two interlocal agreements, and they refer to the Coordinated Water System Plan, which is required under RCW 70.116 and under the Washington Administrative Code 246-293-250, which requires the development of the Coordinated Water System Plan and water service boundaries. The Coordinated Water System Plan is already in place. It was signed, I think, originally in 1999, and these two addendums are just addendums to changing, I guess, or adding to that plan. And in the future, coming before you will be an actual resolution as well that we're working on. So with that, I'd like to open it up for questions on these particular items.
Any questions from council? Dave? Jim, what are the current boundaries? I haven't seen the map.
I have a map I could send to you. It's very similar to our city limits at this point.
Close enough.
Mm-hmm.
Jim, is that just the aquifer that's underneath of us, or is that how that map is designed, or is it just the water system that we have in City
Right.
City?
Yeah, it's our service area. Okay. So we have number 4 reservoir, the reservoir that we have up on top, and zone 4 reservoir, I should say, and that is actually out of our service area, but it supplies water to the customers in our service area, if that makes any sense.
Any other questions from council? Okay, thank you, Jim. Chief Schumacher, mutual aid agreement with Skamania County.
Yes, what I'm proposing is to have a mutual aid agreement with Skamania County Fire District 4. Currently, we do not have any type of mutual aid agreement, and the subject came up when upon the development of our swiftwater rescue team. Talking with the fire chief up there, she would like to have a mutual aid agreement, knowing that it'd be a hold harmless. If you look through the agreement there, they wouldn't charge us or anything for any type of services. We do have mutual aid agreements throughout all the departments in Clark County, but we do not have one currently with Skamania County. And what that'll do, it'll expedite our response to within their district, as well as they would be able to respond into the city without going through the government. We developed the swift water rescue. We've had an increase in calls along the river. There was the incident up at Dugan Falls, if you remember that, a year ago, where I think a little boy was trapped underwater up there. And so we need something like this in place to really get our rescue truck on the road a lot sooner than waiting for a mutual aid agreement to be run through the state and then respond, because we do not currently have
Mr. Mayor. So if I understand correctly, this is basically specifically for swift water rescue.
And it could be used as fire at all. The impetus was a swift water.
Okay.
We don't anticipate anything currently right now with fire, but yes, it can be used for fire as well.
Okay.
Brett?
Two things, Chief, I want to clarify. And at one time, I was told by a previous fire chief that if we don't have these mutual aid agreements in place, in essence, we could go to the Clark County line and the house would be on the other side of the county line. And if we don't have mutual aid agreements in place, we're not covered by insurance and those types of things. Is that a true statement?
I believe that is, Councilman Morris. We would go ahead and do due diligence and put the fire out, but if somebody was to be hurt or something like that, we may or may not be covered. I don't have the answer, but I believe that's true.
And then the other thing is that the last time, when you least expect it, they had at the school up there, they had a smell come out into the school itself, and they took 16 or 18 ambulances up there, and so we can end up there for a number of reasons other than swift water. So.
Other questions from council? Dave?
No, no, go ahead.
Actually, I've got two questions. Chief, how does this agreement differ from other agreements, other such agreements that the city has with other agencies?
Well, currently we have agreements in place with all the other fire districts and cities within Clark County. We just do not have one with Skamania County Fire District 4.
Because they're outside of Clark County?
Because they're outside of Clark County.
But does it differ substantially in its content?
No, it doesn't. I took, what you see here is taken right off the state's website for mutual aid agreements between districts and cities.
Oh, I like that.
Okay.
Second question, if I may. I need to clarify paragraphs 4, 8, and 10. When I read 4, my first reaction was, huh? What are we saying here?
Well, what it says that if we go to Fire District 4, the chief of that fire district would be in command of the emergency scene, just as if they were to come into our city, then the fire chief here would be in command of the incident scene. We're just supplying resources to that district.
Okay, so it's their territory, so it's their command structure.
Right.
Suppose you arrive first
Well, then we would initiate command and take control of the scene until they're
and
arrival.
turn it over until they arrive. Yeah, I've seen that provision before. Got it. I just had trouble sorting through the professional jargon there.
Yeah.
On number 8, compensation. I had the same problem there.
It means that we won't be sending a bill for services to Skamania County Fire District 4 if they were to request our services,
And they won't of us.
and they won't of us.
That's the part I was
Yep,
definitely interested in.
yep.
Thank you. And paragraph 10 there talks about municipal corporations. Does that include the rural districts that surround us?
Councilman, I don't have an answer for you, but I can look that up, sure.
Okay, would it be valuable to include them in this as a possible participant?
Well, the counties around us all have mutual aid agreements with us currently. East
And-
County, Park County Fire District 3, Fire District 6, Fire District 5, they all currently have mutual aid agreements with us.
Okay, so that covers my concern because I don't want to exclude anybody that might be helpful to us.
No.
Okay.
We're not doing that.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor. Yeah, as I read Section 10, that's actually specifically saying that we're not going to have either party be excluded from having similar agreements to other people. So basically, it just
Yes.
allows them to have mutual aid agreements, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, thanks.
Any other questions from council? Thank you, Chief. 2012 District Court rates. Dave, are you taking this one?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Council, we have an interlocal agreement, as you know, with the county for the provision of certain law and justice services for misdemeanors and gross misdemeanors in the courts and through corrections. That agreement provides for annual updates to the rates. Next week, the recommended action will be to authorize the mayor to sign the updated agreement around the rates. Those rates are attached in your packet. There's a letter as well from the county finance director that goes into some detail about some rate methodology. I'll note, I guess, an important item on that addendum that shows the 2012 rate sheet. The annual reimbursement for the court is targeted at $67,560. and I'm looking at what we signed for 11, and it is within $200 of the 11 number, so it's a very similar number. You'll recall also that the police chiefs of Washougal and Camas were here a couple meetings ago to talk about the fact that we're kicking the tires on what it would be, what it would mean for us to collectively do our own court. But in the meantime, we would need to update. The rates on corrections between 12 and 11 are increasing for 3 of the items and decreasing on 1, but it's consistent with the agreement and the methodologies that we've already agreed to as part of an ongoing interlocal. So pretty routine administrative item.
Dave, can you make sure and check with John that their supervision rate is 89 cents?
This year it was 65 cents.
Wow.
But I will double check.
And if they could maybe let us know how they calculate that.
I can get some more details. All we have right now is the one letter that talks about a 3-year rolling average. And
Rod?
David, are we going to see one of these from Skamania County since we send prisoners up there?
I'm assuming that we have some kind of an agreement with them if we are doing that. I'm not sure if we're doing that specifically or if it funnels through the county. So I'll research that and we'll get back to you.
Other questions from council?
Yeah, one more if I may. I notice on here that it costs us $77 and change to put somebody in jail for a day. Does that go on the entire time that they're in the jail, or is that just during the trial process?
That would be any time that they're incarcerated in the county facility or anywhere else that the county is doing under our auspices. It's a cost of dealing with those types of issues.
Does not the county get sales tax from us for that purpose, to run the jail?
Well, the county does get a piece of multiple types of revenues that are generally funded, and I'm trying to remember if there is a dedicated stream out of sales tax or property tax or some other piece that goes specifically for corrections. There may be. I can't recall specifically.
Yeah, I can see that's a more complex issue than I was thinking. Let me try a different tack to get at my concern. Is it traditional that we have been paying them to incarcerate our prisoners? Or was that something that came about recently?
No, I would say that that's probably a long-standing practice.
Okay.
All municipalities have to take responsibility for this type of situation for folks that are and crimes that occur in the community. It's obviously it's a cost for every community, and often counties provide the service on behalf of smaller communities.
Yeah, and my concern is this is a cost that's difficult to control. It's not predictable, and so your budget can be, your reserves can be hit. If you have a crime wave, you're looking at $28,200 a year to put somebody in jail, and that concerns me because it's unpredictable.
Yeah, in this case, we certainly pay for any that go through, what we pay for are prisoners that are housed on our behalf in the county jails, but not in the prisons.
Yes.
The prisons are outside of that.
Thank God for that.
Other questions from council?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dave. That brings us to the second opportunity for anyone from the public who would like to address council this evening. Okay, seeing none, I have one item for council this evening in regards to our Christmas activities, both the tree lighting as well as the Festival of Trees, the second annual Festival of Trees that the Lions Club and the Downtown Merchants are doing. The handout that I gave you gives you some information in regards to Friday, December 9th and Saturday, December 10th. Friday, December 9th, we are proposing this year between the city and some sponsors to actually add to our tree lighting activities and put in a lighted Christmas tree or Christmas parade as well. We're making some arrangements with staff so that we don't have any overtime issues, any of that type of stuff from what we would normally put out for these activities. And we have some corporate sponsors who are already stepping forward to help pay for all the rest of the hard costs of it. I do want to make sure that council and the public certainly understand that all of this one is designed to go through our finance department. So any agreements will go through there, any invoicing will go through there, any sponsorship monies will go through there, any entry fees will go through there, any expenses will be paid out of there and audited as we do our normal auditing processes. And then in addition, you've got a schedule there for the Festival of Trees on both Friday for the preview and some bidding, and then also on their Saturday activities as well. We'll have more information coming out as we begin developing this goodie. Dave, any other items from yourself?
No, Mayor.
Okay. Council? Dave?
First of all, congratulations on getting Waste Connections to take this one on. That's great. Are we at the council comments section now?
Yes.
Okay. A couple of them. First of all, I wanted to thank everybody that, and that's a limited group, that was aware of the health problems I was going through last week. I was in Southwest Hospital for a heart procedure. This job is very taxing on the heart. I want to thank everybody for their thoughts and prayers and tell you that it was a complete success, and I'm back for better or for worse. Also, and I shared this with the mayor, I asked him not to talk a lot about it simply because I didn't know how it was going to come out. The risks were low, but the risk is always there. And so I didn't want to bother anybody with that. Second thing is, I'm looking at the Kiplinger letter, which is a management forecast letter that's been around since 1929. That date may ring a bell. That's when the stock market crashed. Right after that, they decided to go into business to tell people things like, look out, the sky is falling. It's a widely read letter. It's used for management decision-making, and it's had a very good track record over the years for predicting things which affect governments from the federal down to the state and local level. And I'd like to read a brief selection from something that they said about inflation in their most recent 7 October, last Friday edition. It said, there's little to worry about now. The slow economy will keep a damper on demand through 2012, and ample supplies of resources, from workers to raw materials, mean little pressure on wages or prices for at least the next year or so. But come 2013 or soon thereafter, watch out. Annual inflation of 5 to 6% or more is a good bet. By the way, inflation for this year is running about 3%, which is about double what it was last year. Even if economic growth remains pokey, we run the risk of this inflation. If the pace of economic growth picks up, the inflation will climb even higher. And here's the key point. Worse, the trend may continue for years. And my question is, what does that portend for Washougal? What does that mean to us? And I think as we put the budget together over the next several months, couple of months, that should be the key question in front of us. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Dave. Any other items from council members? Okay. Hearing none, we are adjourned.
Wow.
You just set a record.
I don't know about that.
Pretty darn close.
19 minutes. 19 minutes.